made this season, was enough to keep Giannis around.
I was saying whenever they lost to Toronto, 2018, that they needed to go get Drew Holiday.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another TV on Basketball podcast collab. I'm here with a new guest once again. He is known as NoLayups on Instagram and also has a YouTube channel called NoLayups. Say what's up, my guy.
What's up, y'all? What's up, fans?
Hey, yeah, we're going to be doing a collab today. We're going to be talking about, stuff that's been going on over in his channel. We're going to be talking about, just stuff that's been going on in each other's lives and just talk some NBA basketball, man. The NBA season is starting about 2 weeks from when recording, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. How excited are you for it?
I'm very excited. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I cannot.
Yeah. What team do you like? What team is like? What's your favorite team like in the league?
Oh, I've been a Nets fan since D'Angelo Russell. I actually got a jersey on my wall.
Yeah.
I miss him. But
yeah. I mean, it's not bad having KD and Kyrie.
It ain't bad having Kyrie. I packed his bags for him when Kyrie came. And then KD?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're going to probably talk about the Brooklyn Nets later on this thing. And and we're going to also be giving our awards predictions for this season. So this is going to be a jam-packed episode. And I'm going to have all of his links down in the description of my YouTube video. And you can find his links also in my link tree, which will be found for any of you podcast listeners, in the description, or if you're on Instagram, you could find it in my bio. But yeah, let's just get right into this episode, man. How has life been for you these last 12 months? I mean, it's been crazy for everyone.
Unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
Besides COVID, I kind of like quarantine.
I ain't gonna lie. I agree with you. I ain't gonna lie.
It challenges you to focus on your stuff and your purpose, and it lessens the distractions. People gonna find distractions, create distractions all they want. Like, people are still partying with, cases going up. But exactly. I feel like it gives you more of an incentive to lock in, focus on your stuff. Wake up, you work. Look, when they open the gyms back up, like, you can work out.
Yeah.
You go to work.
Yeah.
You come home. Play the game or whatever. You ain't got no reason to really be distracted and stuff all day, and then do your schoolwork or whatever. So I like it. I don't like COVID, but I like quarantine.
Yeah, I completely understand, man. Like, honestly, like, if just looking at like my first year of university last year, like, honestly, honestly, like, you know how busy it is just to get to school and stuff like that. That took off so much time out of your day, and now you're like, basically all amount of time. Like, I like understand what you mean, like when the gyms were open, like, I went to the gym and stuff. I got like some work done, and although I haven't been working because sadly I got laid off, but that's COVID for you. But but at the same time, I've been able to do like this podcast, been able to work on my Instagram page. It's just been like, putting in work is just how you use your time. And honestly, this year has not been bad. Honestly, this year has not been bad. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like, where are you from, by the way?
I'm from Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah, so like the cases like over there kind of like going up and down, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it varies. It goes up and down. Basically, let's say Thanksgiving, Halloween, holiday season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those times it'll go up because, people partying and coming in and out of town and stuff. But then it'll go down. Then it'll go up.
Yeah. It is crazy, man. Like, honestly, like, I'm from Canada, and it's honestly like been like super, super crazy, especially these last few weeks. But the vaccine coming out, whether you like believe it's gonna work or not, hopefully it just like lowers down the cases. That's all we're really hoping for. But yeah, let's talk about just just yourself in basketball. Like, when did you start like watching basketball? Like, what started your love for it?
Kobe Bryant, my favorite player ever. Yeah. So watching Kobe 09 finals was the first time I ever watched basketball, and he won.
Yeah.
So I was a Kobe fan, which kind of made me a Lakers fan, but it really was my attachment to Kobe. Fair enough. Then, I just had a fond liking. It's weird. because I had a liking for Kobe, and since he was on the Lakers, like, okay, I like the Lakers. But I will always had a connection to the Nets, even when they was in Jersey. Like, I like the colors, or I will pick them on 2K if I didn't use the Lakers, even when they were bad.
Yeah.
So then when the Lakers pissed me off and got rid of D'Angelo Russell, I was like, well, the Kobe not here. I might as well be a Nets fan.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was like, and then, I had a couple of bad seasons, made the playoffs last year, and then got blessed with Kyrie and KD. And, life is good.
That's a freaking big blessing, man. But I know a lot of Nets fans who, like, just like I've been talking to, just like, they missed that old team, with, D'Lo, with, who else was on that team? Like, I mean, that team was fun, man. Like the bench celebrations and stuff like that.
It was entertaining.
Yeah, that was a hella entertaining team. And I get what you mean, but I mean, you're kind of spoiled for choice at this point, having KD
right.
Yeah.
You won't go in no ring with that team.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, being a Nets fan honestly feels great right now. And obviously, like that Kobe connection, obviously it must have sucked this year, especially at the beginning. I mean, it hurt all of us. I mean, I wasn't the biggest Kobe in the fan world, but that hit hard, man. That whole Kobe death.
Yeah, it hit mad hard. I was like, sheesh, what the freak?
Yeah.
But,
it is what it
is. Stuff happens.
Yeah. Rest in peace to Kobe, man. That guy is a freaking absolute legend. But let's talk about your YouTube channel, because that's the way that we started connecting. You put up some like pretty good content, especially like throughout the bubble and stuff like that. We're gonna go into that. But why did you want to start a YouTube channel, man?
I started off with the podcast, but for some reason it just really wasn't my niche.
Yeah.
I feel like I like podcasts. It's just some things just aren't for you, you know? I feel like I couldn't do a basketball podcast, but I could do a podcast just talking about, like, life and stuff that happened in the world. But I feel like YouTube would be more to fit, like, what I'm saying basketball-wise, because then I could also, like, let's say if I'm talking about a specific play, I can also show that play, so it's not like I'm guessing, because some people like to question everything you're talking about. So and then YouTube just connected, and also everybody knows YouTube, right? So when I'm promoting myself on Twitter, Instagram, and stuff, everybody knows YouTube.
Yeah,
podcast, everybody listens, whether they listen to Apple, Spotify, there's so many different ones they listen to. It's just way calmer just be like, hey, check out my YouTube channel, since it's so universal.
Yeah, exactly. And I like the point you made, because like a lot of people question like, oh, like, what do you mean by this? It's like, yo, you got to show me something. And like YouTube is right for that. Like you get to like show like videos and stuff like that to kind of back up your points. And like watching some of your videos from the past, I mean, you do a really good job in terms of like, putting out the content, and also like just showing like where, where these points that could back you up, which is awesome. But you said you're talking about like doing a podcast in the past. Like when did you start like doing like just like going into like podcasting and YouTube? Like when did you start?
Okay. It's like a 2-part story. I started 6th, 7th grade. If you type in Najee Simons on YouTube, you will find a video of me from like 6th or 7th grade talking about 2012. Whenever the Lakers had Dwight Howard in them, I was doing a playoff prediction for that year. 2013, so I was 12. I was in 7th grade.
Yeah.
But I always was told I should do it, but I didn't really take it serious because I was still playing sports and stuff. Yeah. But then this year, quarantine, I'm like, man, might as well just stop wasting my knowledge and content on Facebook and debating with ignorant people. Let me just put it on a global platform.
Yeah.
And that's where I am.
Yeah, I swear, like as like kids, especially as like basketball fans, you always go through this phase like, man, I know so much. I need to like get this stuff like out to the world.
Right.
Yeah, like honestly, I remember doing stuff like that, like not even like on YouTube, just putting it like out on Facebook. Like when I first started I just had like stuff I would just like record myself just talking about basketball, and no one would watch it, but at the same time, it was just super fun to do as a kid. You talked about playing sports. I mean, like you said that you're in college. You told me before the show. Like, what times do you still like do like sports in college and stuff like that?
I was going to, but it's for some reason I realized I like talking about sports more than playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, without all the extra stuff. So I still play, like, go to the gym. I still lift and I shoot every day like I'm actually training for a game. I play in leagues and stuff, but I am active, but it's something about, like, talking about sports. It just hits different.
Yeah.
And to be able to build your way to get paid for it and stuff, and that be the end goal is just, I don't know. I found more fun in that than actually playing. Because once you know you can play good, and then it's like, well, I'm gonna go wake up at 6 a.m., get yelled at by a coach, and I'm not even going to the NBA.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah, there's no point.
Yeah, I do. I was like in the same boat as you. Like I was playing basically just like competitive leagues and stuff up to probably the 10th or 11th grade. Then I started like listening to podcasts and stuff like that. And like honestly, me just like knowing my knowledge and like talking to my friends and stuff, I'm like, yo, this is a lot more fun. This is honestly
right. It is.
Yeah, it is. And like I just wanted to like was there like any moment where you're just like that thing just flipped? Like is there like one specific moment you could point to where you're like, man, like maybe like talking to sports is probably the right move?
I wouldn't say a specific point from when after high school, it wasn't a point where it just happened. I just chose to do it. But now I look back and be like, I'm happy I did do it, because you just get these like nagging injuries. I'm like, maybe I beat myself to it. Like I retired early because like I'd be like, yo, like my back will hurt or my ankle. Like I'm like, yo, I ain't never get all these injuries, and it's like now I'm getting. I'm like, I'm glad I stopped.
Bro, it's always the back, man. I don't know what it is. It's always the back. I don't know.
And it never goes away.
It never does it. It's always weird, man. Like it felt like, you know, like sometimes you'd wake up and you're just like, yo, it's like the back, man. It's just like it just happens. It just like honestly, just going through that like rigorous training, especially if you have that like one coach, man, who just like keeps pushing and pushing it.
Right.
That's tough, man. But yeah, I kind of have to like go through the same thing. Like usually my moment was like, I think like it was like not like everyone's moment. Like I just know that there was like I was about to go into the rec league like I usually do, and before I entered the gym, some guy got shot, and I had to like a bunch of us had to like run home and shit. I'm like, yo, I can't, I'm not down for this anymore. People be taking this way too seriously.
Yeah,
man. That's why I'm like, no, it's all good. But at the same time, I also love doing this. Let's talk about some of the videos on your YouTube channel, because I was watching them like in preparation for this collab, and the two latest videos had to do with like Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo, and how they like their respective teams had to make changes in order for them to go to the next level. Let's talk about Giannis first, man. I mean, I watched your video. You're talking about how the Bucks needed to make these changes. I mean, this year, let's be honest, it was an absolute disaster the way that they went out against the Miami Heat. They were the freaking first seed in the East, and they just completely like flamed out of the playoffs. But what were your thoughts of them like coming out of the season? And like, do you think that like the moves that they made this season, was enough to keep Giannis around?
I was saying whenever they lost to Toronto, 2018, that they needed to go get Drew Holiday.
Yeah,
because I was like, Bledsoe. People blame Giannis for why they lost to Toronto, but nobody ever looks at how Giannis shooters just couldn't hit no shots. So they wall up the paint. And this year I said, let's look at them. I said the one team that will beat them in the East, I said it's going to be Miami if they were to lose to anybody. Why? Budenholzer doesn't adjust.
He doesn't.
They still have the Bledsoe issue.
Yeah.
Can we trust the shooters in the playoffs? And most importantly, defensively, they gave up the most threes in the NBA.
Yeah.
Miami had some of the best was one of the best shooting teams in the NBA. So it really was like, because they weren't getting blown out.
Yeah.
It was styles make fights, and they also didn't have a closer. So that's when Jimmy Butler would close the games. And I mean, styles make fights, and they just went up against a bad style. Like, it happens, but I can say this: if they don't call that foul on Giannis at the end of that game, it's a totally different series because it's 2-2.
Oh yeah. Wait, was that the one where they like it was like after the game ended, right? Like they called the
Yeah,
foul
and Jimmy
on
shot the free throws.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 2-2 that happens because we forget game 4. I said Giannis figured him out. He had like 19 points in 11 minutes.
Yeah, I
And
remember that.
Yeah, and then he hurt his ankle.
Yeah.
I said if it's 2-2, it's a way different series. But styles make fights, and now I feel like, boom, they see. You know how Giannis stopped saying "I'm here forever."
Yeah, he stopped that this offseason.
Yeah, so now they made themselves worse as a regular season team, but they made themselves better as a playoff team.
Oh yeah.
And if this year I don't think it's going to be on the players, because if the shooters hit and Drew is better than Bledsoe, they have everything on the court. If Budenholzer makes the proper adjustments defensively, they there's no reason why they shouldn't lose to anybody but the Nets. Yeah. Or maybe Philly, but they shouldn't lose to anybody but the Nets.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
I definitely agree with you there. And like the one point you brought up, I mean, the Bledsoe problem was massive for me. Everyone was blaming Bledsoe. Like when the Raptors, like my Raptors, like I watched the whole series, people were blaming Giannis, but he was doing everything he could in his power to will them.
Bledsoe they was up 2-0.
They were up. They were. And honestly, like
playing Brogdon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I was like, game 3. I mean, I think it went to like what, double overtime? They could have had us down. Yeah, they they could have had us down 3-0 and it would have been over, let's be completely honest. But for some reason, like, one, they paid Bledsoe early, so they were trapped. Right. So they played Bledsoe early. And then in the offseason, they didn't even bring back Brogdon, which honestly was.
And I said they were rooted they to get rid of Brogdon.
Yeah, I was like, honestly, I was so pissed. I was like, yo, you really chose Bledsoe, the guy who time and time again has shown us in the playoffs that he just cannot work beside Giannis. And you gave up someone who was honestly one of your best shooters. He was one of your best shooters. This guy could like handle the ball and stuff like that, and he's a good defender. And you let him go for nothing. It was such like a stupid move in my opinion. And the fact that they got rid of him at this season, I was like, you know what? That already is itself. It's a W, like for the Milwaukee Bucks. But yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there. I mean, they did get worse. I mean, their depth definitely got worse. But at the same time, you have people they brought in like. They brought in DJ Augustine, who honestly is not a bad backup. I like that pickup for getting DJ Augustine. They still have a nice wing defender that they brought in Torrey Craig. They still have Bobby Portis off the bench to score for them. I mean,
then they get Forbes too.
Yeah, no, that's underrated.
Yeah, the shooter.
Yeah, he's underrated. The man from the Spurs, he's underrated as well. Like they have the pieces now to go deep into the playoffs, and I mean, and like people are gonna see on my podcast on Monday about like my Eastern Conference predictions. Like I still have them going as favorites in the East. I still do at this point. But
I feel like them and the Nets should be the 2 favorites.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I just think that they're still going to be a really good team this season. But you know, this upcoming season, like you said, this offseason, Giannis like his whole tone changed. Basically saying like, I'm going to stay here forever and stuff like that. That whole season changed. Like, what do you think the Bucks have to do this season in order for him to re-sign next season?
They need to win at least 2 games in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like, just like elaborate on that. Like, what do you think? Like, is it like? Do you think the moves have been enough, or do you think like that mess up with the Bogdanovic situation really did like hurt their chances?
The moves they did was enough.
Yeah.
Getting rid of Bledsoe hurt. Getting rid of Bledsoe helped you more than honestly getting Bogdanovic. Getting rid of Bledsoe and obtaining Drew Holiday who can defend, playmate, and close, and still shoot good enough to space the floor. Bogdanovic was kind of overkill. That was cool, but getting rid of Bledsoe was the key.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there. And, I mean, the roster is still good enough. They still have Giannis. They still have Middleton. Now that Drew Holiday, they have an all-NBA defender. I think they should still be up there as one of the favorites in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's move on to the Portland Trailblazers, man. I watched that video and you're talking about how basically, you're kind of wasting Damian Lillard at this point, the Portland Trailblazers.
They are.
Yeah. In my opinion, right now, he's like a top 3, top 2 point guard in this league. And he like has been kind of just treading along. I mean, last season was really bad, especially early on with all the injuries and stuff. and they barely made the playoffs last year. And you talked about in your video how they should be making these moves, trading CJ McCollum, trading away some of their guys. And although they didn't, trade CJ McCollum, they brought in Robert Covington, they brought in Derrick Jones Jr.
I like that.
Like, how do you feel about the moves that they made this offseason?
This is the best team they put around Damian Lillard.
I agree, 100%.
And he still will lose in the first or second round. So
really.
Yeah, you're not better than Denver. You're not better than the Clippers. You ain't better than the Lakers. You can lose to Golden State. You can lose to the Suns.
Yeah.
You can lose to Houston if James Harden's still there.
Yeah.
You can lose to Luka and KP.
Yeah. Yo, the West is stacked. The West is
stacked. So it's like, yo, like what a brother gotta do.
Yeah.
It's like they gave him the best team. This is the best team he's had since he got swept by AD, because that team was real good and they shouldn't have got swept. But it's the West is crazy.
The West is crazy, man. I mean, like I said, they brought in Covington, who was a really, honestly, one of the perfect pieces they could put beside a Dame and CJ.
Right.
Yeah, they brought in Derrick Jones Jr. to help out. I mean, one of the problems last season was that they lost Al-Farouq Aminu, and they missed that other. I think it was Mo Harkless as well.
They got rid of all their defense for offense.
Exactly. No, that was crazy to me. How they didn't bring they had 3 good wing defenders and Turner, Mo Harkless, and Al-Farouq Aminu. They got rid of all of them. They legit got rid of all their perimeter defense in favor of what? Carmelo Anthony, which is
right.
I don't know. I mean, which is crazy, but I have to, agree with you there. I mean, you talked about how basically every maybe 7 or 8 teams could beat the Portland Trailblazers. I mean, what do you think would be a successful season for them this year?
Get into the second round and win in 2 games. They will not get to the Western Conference Finals, because if we're being honest, they shouldn't have went the year that they went to the Western Conference Finals. It's just CJ McCollum saved Damian Lillard with that last shot. But you're not better than the Suns. I mean, you're on the same tier as the Suns. Golden State, I'm not.
Do you think Dallas is ahead of them?
Ain't won the game versus Curry his whole career in the playoffs. I'm not betting against. I'm not betting against him versus them. Luka's better than you, and KP is better than CJ, and they added defense. So it's like, whew.
Yeah, I mean,
Houston, if James Harden is still there, you're not better than them.
Yeah,
you're not. Are they better than Utah? I forgot about Utah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Utah. Man, no, let's be honest. Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert is a better one.
And Mike Conley figured out the system at the end of the year.
Yeah. It's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough for these Trailblazers, man, this year. Even with the moves they made, honestly, one of the biggest W's they took this offseason was kind of getting rid of Whiteside, in my opinion. I really don't
Oh, my God. Yeah. When we played them at the beginning of the year, I remember – it's crazy. I was at the beginning of my freshman year when they did it, but I'm at the – it's dang, COVID really stopped the season for a long time because I was in the beginning of my freshman year laying in somebody's room. I remember watching when we played them, and Dame had 60.
Yeah.
And Kyrie and Dinwiddie had 30 apiece. But we won because Whiteside, he'll do this thing he'll let us lay the ball. It's weird because he averages 3 blocks a game.
Almost 4 blocks a game. Yeah, almost 4 blocks a game.
Yeah, but he allowed so many other layups. When you act like you about to jump and don't jump.
Yeah, it's so annoying with Whiteside, man. It's so annoying.
I'm like, wow. But if you look at his stats, it looks like he's a great rim protector. But if you watch the game, he's picking and choosing when he want to play defense.
Exactly. And he has all the tools. That's the problem. This guy's 7'2". This guy has the wingspan. He's athletic. But he just doesn't try. He just doesn't try all the time.
I never met it. Every time Whiteside plays for a team, especially Miami fans, they hate him.
Yeah, they do. They do. They 100% do.
Yeah.
You could just tell by the value on his market for sure. Where did he sign? The Sacramento Kings? I think he signed with the Kings on a minimum deal. And this guy was averaging was like 16 points and 14 rebounds last year. And this guy got a freaking minimum deal from the Sacramento Kings. I mean, that's basically means you're almost out the league. Let's be honest. Like, he's almost out the league.
These numbers.
Yeah, but he has the numbers, man. But yeah, I mean, you talked about like a bunch of those teams in the West. You know, we talked about how like the competition got better in the East. I mean, for this upcoming season, like, what is going to be like? Who do you think is going to be the most like pleasantly surprising team this season?
Surprising team, I would say, will Atlanta be surprising to you?
I would, if it depends where you place them. I mean, I think they will be a playoff team. It just depends where you place them.
How about this? I'll say this. Yeah. Atlanta will be good enough that we're going to say Trae Young is a top 3 point guard by the end of the year.
Interesting. Yeah, elaborate on that. Like, what do you think about?
Trae is really amazing. Like, people bring up defense. Most of the top tier point guards don't play defense. They finally got defenders around him, so now his defensive impact won't look that bad, which will increase his impact because dang, he's such a revolutionary talent on the offensive end. Trae Young, like the kid is really, really good. And good. I'm a Kyrie Irving fan, and I say, yo, by the end of next year, he's gonna be better than Kyrie and Dame, or he's gonna be 5. So he's gonna be better than Chris Paul. He's gonna be better than Kyle Lowry and Ben Simmons. Yeah. He's gonna be 5. Yeah. If he's still behind, because he's not surpassing Steph. He's not surpassing Luka. Yeah. But Trae Young's amazing. I've been a Trae Young fan since college when they started they double and triple teaming him all game.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
When he went on that he had like that crazy streak of like 30, 40-point games. Yeah. Then they started guarding him with 2 people.
Yeah.
I was like, I said he's real. People thought Sexton was gonna be better.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That's crazy. Now looking back at it, man, I mean, Trae Young is he's a baller. I mean, there's a reason why the Atlanta Hawks were dead set on drafting this guy in that draft. I mean, he's amazing. Right. Yeah, and I think the Hawks are going to be one of those very interesting teams. They brought in a bunch of veterans. They have the defense in the front court now. Capella should be back healthy, and then they drafted Onyeka Okongwu. I mean,
their record wasn't bad after the trade deadline either. Yeah. I think they were 1 or 2 games under 500, and I said that's without Capella. Yeah,
I mean they're a good team. I think one of the biggest problems for them last year is that John Collins suspension. That really hurt them early on. Early on. Yeah. So now that he's back, honestly, especially now he's going into a contract year, he's gonna want to get paid. My man.
Look for him to be on the move though.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be my next question. What do you think they're gonna do with them? Because they brought in a bunch of these pieces, and it looks like that front court especially is gonna get crowded really quick with Danilo Gallinari. They still got Okongwu. They still have
Hunter.
Capella. Hunter's still there. And whether you want to, put Reddish at the 2 or the 3, I mean, it's just a loaded roster. What do you think they're going to do with John Collins?
Build him up. Trade him. That's what you got to do because John Collins isn't getting any max money from me. But they do have this thing where they have the bird rights, correct?
Yeah.
So they can So all the players they have, most of them they drafted.
Yeah.
So they can go over the cap to resign them, but I wouldn't be surprised if John Collins is traded because Hunter still brings you 3 and D. He just doesn't bring you the vertical, the lob threat.
Yeah.
But you have that with Capella.
Yeah.
So it's like hopefully they can sign him on the right deal. But I feel like that's another reason they signed Onyeka is because of this. Onyeka's going to replace Capella in a year or 2. That's obvious.
Yeah.
But if they would have signed Obi Toppin, who to me is he plays similar to John Collins.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, if they signed him, well, they drafted him.
Yeah.
It would have been too obvious that they were about to get rid of John Collins. So I feel like they're giving him a chance to work out a respectable contract or just to build himself up to get out of here.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you there. I mean, it's just it was just like when you saw all these moves coming in for the Atlanta Hawks and just them bringing in all these front court guys, it just puts a lot of pressure on Collins to play really well this year. And you said, whether they're going to trade trade him, or just like hopefully they sign him to a more respectable deal where he's like maybe like covering his worth. It's gonna be just really interesting to see like how they're gonna like how he's gonna play this year and like what type of value he gives to them moving forward. We talked about the most surprising team. Like, who do you think is gonna be a team that people are high on, but they're gonna like disappoint?
I have I'm gonna throw this out there. I have like 3 teams I want to touch on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's not be surprised or bash Luka if the Mavericks don't make the playoffs.
Okay, interesting.
Boston is very, very, very likely to lose in the first round.
Really? Boston?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how people feel about Toronto, but they're subject to lose in the first. They're subject to not be top 4 this year.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, the other 2 are kind of surprising to me. The Raptors one, I mean, I'm a Raptors fan. I have the fly kind of like behind me over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, we just lost a lot of players and the East just got better, so I wouldn't be surprised if we're in top 4. I expect us this year to be maybe around the 6, 7, 5 range.
Mm-hmm.
But the Boston one, man, elaborate on that. Like, what about them? Like, are you just not convinced about?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be real honest. Okay, I'm gonna start off with this.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum gets a lot of praise, and granted, he went to Duke, so I love Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
But you know who he really plays like? And I'm not saying he has the playoff issues is bad, but he plays like Paul George. And sometimes
he kind of I could see it.
Their issues is they need to simplify their games, because Glenn Davis was arguing with Tatum trainer, and he kind of spilled some news about how the players feel about they was like he always doing all this stuff and step back 3 and stuff. It's starting to irritate the other players. Yeah. And if you notice, they lost to Miami.
Yeah.
Because you notice how many shots Marcus Smart was taking?
Yeah.
And I feel like that was kind of built out of frustration, because you watching Tatum, boom, 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 dribble, side step back. It was high risk, high reward, and I feel like you can't play like that. So that's the issue. Tatum needs to simplify his game. Wish he has the ability to, because Tatum's the top 16 player to me.
Yeah.
Then Kemba, he's never been a playoff performer, but supposedly Boston fans say he was going to be better than Kyrie Irving. That was crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Jaylen Brown is going to be Jaylen Brown. Not too high, not too low. Just going to be solid and good.
What about their center position? Their center position is I don't know. I don't think they really addressed that this offseason.
They did. You signed Tristan Thompson. I mean, Tristan Thompson's cool, but he's Tristan Thompson, and he still got ties. Like I think they can lose to. I think they'll lose to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I think they'll lose to the Nets.
Yeah.
They'll lose to Philly.
Yeah, especially against Embiid. Embiid will destroy them.
They'll lose to Miami again.
Yeah.
I think they'll lose to they got lucky last year versus Toronto. I don't think you get lucky again.
Yeah, that's an
iffy. Toronto is either way.
Yeah.
I think they can lose to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And
Indiana?
Nah. I don't think Indiana can win more than a game or 2.
Yeah.
But I think they can. They're subject. I wouldn't be shocked if they lost to Washington.
Oh yeah, that's interesting too. That's another team to kind of look out for. But I don't know. Like my biggest problem with them. I mean, I really didn't notice that until like you brought that point up with like Jason Tatum like just doing too much in terms of ISO situations.
Yeah.
Like
it's
honestly,
too much.
Yeah, no. Like, honestly, I had to like replay the stuff back in my mind. I'm like, yeah. I mean, this guy's right. I mean, especially like I think he kind of was like really high on himself. Like if you like look back to earlier in the regular season against the Clipper game where like he completely went off. I mean, this guy was cooking everyone on the Clippers, but he was doing kind of like those fancy dribble moves, hitting those step backs, and he was feeling himself. He definitely was feeling himself. I think ever since then. And I can understand why these guys like around him like, yo, this guy's just doing too much.
Yeah, like he dribbles, like, bro, just score. You don't have to do all this dribble cut. Yeah. What he does is, let's even say he's let's say he scores a .25 on isolation possessions, which would be actually real good.
Yeah.
But you're still giving the defense a lot of time to set up. And that's what the first game versus Miami, when Bam ended up blocking him.
I was going to mention that. I was exactly going to mention that.
Everybody, the Bam block was nice. Yeah. But it was the end of the fourth quarter, and this dude could have blew right past Derrick Jones for the layup. And he did dribble, step back. And I was calling. I said, he about to dribble, step back. Dribble. No, and that's exactly what he did.
Yo, no, honestly, man. Honestly, I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, I'm looking at that last play. I'm like, yo, he should go to the rim. He should go to the rim.
Just go.
I'm like, and this me, like, he's going to shoot, isn't he? Because I was really frustrated with him that game because, like, throughout the fourth quarter, this guy was just doing the same thing over and over again. I'm like, yo, he should attack the rim, but he's just not. I just know he's not. And then he took the jump right at the end. I'm like, and he just clanks off the front of the rim. That's why he forced it in overtime. That's why he forced it, and then freaking Bam just knocked that shot out of the air. So yeah, I completely agree with that. One more thing before we move on to our awards predictions. You talked about how the Mavs. I mean, that was like really surprising to me that they have a chance of not making the playoffs. What do you like? Elaborate on that.
KP being hurt at the beginning of the year is going to be something to deal with, and the West is too crazy because again. Let's list the teams.
Yeah.
Lakers.
Yeah.
Clippers.
Yeah.
Denver. Utah. That's 4 already.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Portland. 5.
Maybe. Yeah.
Suns.
Maybe.
6.
Yeah.
Golden State.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Houston. I just named 8 right there. You got a battle with.
Yeah. I mean, and you can still have those teams that may surprise you, like the New Orleans Pelicans may surprise some people.
Pelicans may surprise you, yep.
Yeah, basically that's like 9 teams already. That's crazy.
And just imagine you get a loss here or there. Let's say you get a loss from Minnesota. You lose a game versus Sacramento. Every game where you're in the West counts.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy out there.
The Spurs, you lose a game or 2 versus the Spurs. You play them 4 times.
Yeah, it's gonna. I mean, this West, man. I mean, like I remember like creating my Western Conference predictions like early like last week, and I'm like, bro, who am I taking out? I mean, it's like one of these teams I'm gonna have to take out of the top 8, and it just don't feel right. It just don't feel right, like keeping them out of the top 8 just because they're just so talented, and just like seeing them compared to the East, man. Like I really wish I could drop a team like the Pelicans in the East just to make things a little more interesting.
They need to go to 1 through 16s.
I know at this point. I mean, just looking at the imbalance. I mean, like when I was like making the West, I'm like, man, like the Pelicans are gonna probably still have an over 500 record and still probably miss out on the playoffs just because. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I still think that the Mavericks are a playoff out just because Luka is that good of a player. But I mean, I mean, with the West, you honestly just do not know. So that is very interesting. So yeah, let's that's that, and so leave your comments down below whether you agree or disagree with any of these takes. Before we end up the show, we're going to be making our awards predictions before the NBA season. We're going to be talking about MVP, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, Most Improved, Sixth Man of the Year, and also to end off the show, we're going to be giving our finals predictions. We're going to start from bottom to top because we're not going to give the MVP right yet. We're going to have to save that to the end. So let's start with Sixth Man of the Year. What do you think? Who do you think is going to be the Sixth Man of the Year this year, my guy?
Dinwiddie. Spencer Dinwiddie.
Dinwiddie. Yeah. Like, what do you think? Like, do you think he's just going to, like, you know, coming off the bench, he's just going to, like, kill it for Brooklyn?
Like, per usual, he's going to average close to the same numbers he averaged last year. Maybe not 20, so maybe, like, 18 like he usually does. Like he's been doing these last couple of years. 18 and 5 or 6. With some solid defense, but he's going to get it because, one, the voters aren't going to vote for Lou Will or Harold again. 2, and we're going to have a really good record.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's a good pick. I honestly do. I'm still like trying to figure out what the Nets roster is going to probably be like this year. Like, do you think Karis LeVert's still going to be starting at the 2?
Yeah, I think so. I think they'll do it. I'm honestly a fan more of the Kyrie Dinwiddie backcourt played better, at least last year, than the LeVert Kyrie backcourt. But then again, Kyrie would be hurt, then LeVert would be hurt, so they really didn't get to play that much together. So hopefully this year is better. But that roster is so talented. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, like, I had Dinwiddie on my list as well. I have him as an honorable mention. You went from one of your guys from your favorite team. I'm gonna go with one of my guys from my favorite team. I'm gonna say Norman Powell. I mean,
I like him. I always trade for him on 2K.
Yeah, I mean, people low key, man. This guy had a really good season last year, averaging like over 16 points a game for the first time in his career. And I think a lot of people just didn't talk about him because, one, I mean, no one talks about the Raptors enough, and two, this guy was injured. I think like he was injured for like a lot of the season as well. He only played 50-something games, so I think this year, especially, like, they're gonna ask more of an offensive role from him. I think that Norman Powell could definitely be, in the running for that sixth man. I have him as my favorite, but I also had Dinwiddie. I mean, like, I legit have him on my list here as my honorable mention. So that is definitely going to be, it's gonna be a race, man. But I just don't think Lou Williams is probably not gonna be like in that race this year.
Yeah. And after we saw that mess in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, 100%. Let's move on to the next award, and we have the Most Improved Player Award. Who do you think is going to win Most Improved this year? No layups.
It will be weird, but could Gordon Hayward get Most Improved Player?
Okay, now this is a really interesting one because I've had like debates with my friends about this. Like, what if someone who came back from injury kind of had a bad year and bounced back and do it? Like, is that considered Most Improved? I mean, like, people have been making that argument for like Derrick Rose. I've seen people make that like argument like last year.
Because it's weird. Because what do you consider more improved than like you? I was saying Gordon Hayward because I think Gordon Hayward is going to go from 18 to like 23. Charlotte's in the East. The East got better, but it's like Gordon Hayward could go from the fourth option on the playoff team to looking like Utah and being the best player on the playoff team. So I was thinking Gordon Hayward, but if I had to pick one, Markelle Fultz.
Markelle Fultz, interesting.
Markelle Fultz.
Yeah, do you think he'll still be the starting point guard there in Orlando this upcoming season?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Like, elaborate on it.
Up, down. Him or Cole, one of them going to end up having to go. But I think he's better. I think he'll seven. I think he'll average like 17 a game this year.
Yeah. It also helps his case because he had that like really bad first few seasons, and if he does have it, I mean, the narrative is there for him to win the award. So I could definitely see that happening. The only my pick for Most Improved was only because this guy basically the Thunder traded all their players, and I think that this guy's just gonna have all the shots in the freaking world to play well, and I think it's gonna be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He put up, it's not a bad he's basically all of his guys got traded, so he's gonna have to be the one to put up the numbers. I mean, last year 19.6 rebounds. I could see that like going up to maybe like 22, 23, maybe 5, 6 assists, 7 rebounds a game, just because. Who else is gonna do it for the Thunder at this point? So I mean, he's gonna have the opportunities. And I also put down on my list Deandre Ayden, who is gonna be kind of like my dark horse in this because
Chris Paul effect.
The Chris Paul, exactly. And I think that out of all the people on the Phoenix Suns, Deandre Ayden benefits the most from having Chris Paul on that team.
Yep.
Chris Paul been playing with DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin all them years. And now he's playing with Deandre Ayden. I think Deandre Ayden's going to probably take that next step into probably being like an all-star level type player. And a lot of that's going to have to do with Chris Paul. So I definitely have him as kind of my backup. But my official prediction is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Let's move on to the next award. We have the Coach of the Year award. Basically, the Coach of the Year award is basically either your team is going to be hella surprising or your team has the best record. So, so who do you have winning Coach of the Year?
Tyronn Lue.
Tyronn Lue, Clippers.
I think they're going to win the West this year.
Really?
Record-wise.
Really? Do you think, like after all that drama last year, do you think they'll be able to, like, push that aside and, like, play really well?
Yeah, they got rid of Harrell.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be that much. And Tyronn Lue's good on veteran teams, not rebuilding teams. So he's going to – just like LeBron used to say, him and Tyronn Lue used to argue and fuss. So if LeBron listens to Tyronn Lue, you don't think the rest of them, like, he has no problem checking you and putting you in your place. And he's going to establish roles. The first two options is Kawhi and Paul George. The Clippers last year is everybody knew it's similar to Boston had. everybody knew Kawhi and Kyrie was the first option. Yeah. But it was so much fighting about who was second.
Yeah.
It was, but Tyronn Lue is going to be Kawhi, it's going to be Paul, it's going to be Lue, and then there's going to be the rest of you.
Yeah. I mean, like, I definitely see them having a bounce-back season. I have them, like, pretty high in the West. I'm not sure if they're going to be winning it, but I'd still have them very high on the standings. And, like, before, like, I give my prediction, like, how do you, like, feel about all these rumors, like, coming out about the Clippers, you know, all that drama from last year, you know, these superstars getting their preferential treatment? Do you think that's going to change, like with, like, Tyronn Lue and Durant?
I feel like this. Everything's result-based. We didn't hear this stuff when they were winning. All these issues when they were winning. When you take a bad loss like that, that's where people all of a sudden, that's where everybody has an issue. Like, it's like all of a sudden the girl's ugly now that y'all don't date no more, or the guy's ugly now that you don't date no more. Like, come on now. The issue, it wasn't an issue. They weren't ugly when y'all was together, so it wasn't an issue when you was winning. So, man, stop. Because if anything, should nobody be saying nothing about Kawhi for preferential treatment when he the only one that showed up in the playoffs.
Exactly. And it's, I mean, like, basically that's what it is in sports. Winning cures everything. As long as you're winning, none of this, like, and none of these drama, like, it doesn't matter. So as long as they're winning, I definitely could see Tyronn Lue winning it. My pick for Coach of the Year this year, I think the Nuggets are going to surprise a lot of people.
That's a great pick.
I think they honestly, like, as a regular season team, mind you, I think they could shock a lot of people, maybe fight for first in the West, especially because the Lakers are going to be resting a bunch of people, going to be resting their guys, especially early in the season. And I think the Denver Nuggets are, like, coming off, you know, that stellar playoff run. Jamal Murray is probably going to build off that. Jokic is still probably going to be an MVP candidate. And I honestly just think that they're going to have, like, a really good regular season record. And Mike Malone is going to, like, win Coach of the Year there. My other, my runner-up is probably, it's kind of interesting, but I have the Brooklyn Nets. I have Steve Nash. Just because if I think if everything goes well, I think he's going to get, like, the Steve Kerr kind of treatment. Like, yo, this guy just came in and just, like, absolutely kind of, like, changed this team up and, like, made everything work. If it works out like that, I could definitely see him winning Coach of the Year, and he's definitely going to be my runner-up in that case. Second to last award, we have the Rookie of the Year award. I know this year the class isn't that stellar. I mean, it's not really even that interesting. I mean, I'm more excited for next year, man. I'm looking at Cade Cunningham. Yo, that guy's
watch all his games.
Bro, this guy's a baller. I'm so excited for him to come into the league, man. I'm so excited. Yeah, so, but I mean, with this rookie class, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to who gets Rookie of the Year. Who do you have winning Rookie of the Year this year?
LaMelo Ball.
I'm going to say right now I agree with you.
Yeah. He the best player in the class. LaMelo, Wiseman will be second in the race because his impact defensively is going to be up there, and they're going to be winning. And the Curry effect, you know, he makes everybody better. But LaMelo, the only one in the draft class that got superstar talent.
Yeah,
hey, LaMelo's good. He's really good.
He's good. Yeah. 100%. And I think, like, and it's like a lot of, like, kind of the same thing I said about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, this guy's gonna get chances. He's gonna be freaking. He's gonna be getting the lead guard role. And I don't know, man. I mean, like, just the way he's framed. I mean, if you remember a couple years ago when we first heard of LaMelo, like, this guy was freaking shorter than Alonzo. This guy was like,
right.
I mean, it feels so weird seeing him grow up to be like this. And now I'm like,
watching him grow up.
Bro, it feels so weird, especially watching him in freaking the Hornets practice, man. Like, watching him, like, practice with Gordon Hayward, yo, that freaked me the hell out. I'm like, yo, I'm old now. Like, honestly, like, I feel old just, like, seeing, like, a LaMelo Ball freaking playing in the NBA. But, I definitely have him as, like, that number one option. My backup option is kind of interesting. Tell me your thoughts on this. Like, what about Killian Hayes? Killian Hayes of the –
Oh, that was my second. He was on my second in my draft board.
Yeah. Like, do you think, like, do you think he'll be a good player, like, for the –
Yeah, I think – I wasn't a fan of the Detroit picking him, but with Derrick Rose there, I'm liking what I've been hearing out of there. And it's – how do I compare Killian? Killian is like D'Angelo Russell, but take away – if D'Angelo Russell's scoring talent – was put to defense. So it's like interchange. The way D'Angelo scores, That's how Killian defends.
Yeah.
How D'Angelo defends is how Killian scores.
I see. What you mean.
Yeah, but they both almost equal playmakers, especially being super left-hand dominant. I mean, D'Lo's more ambidextrous, but Killian's super left-hand dominant. Got to work on that, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a good player for the Pistons. I don't know about you. I wanted him to go to the Suns.
Me too.
I wanted him to go to the Suns, man. I was dying for him to go. I wanted him to drop to 10, and I'm like, yo, him learning under Chris Paul would change. Like, honestly, like it's like the perfect bridge between like the present and the future.
I feel like that could have kept Booker there, because I think Booker gonna leave.
Still,
when Chris Paul contract expire.
Yeah,
he out of there.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like, it's definitely an interesting point. I mean, I really didn't like the Jalen Smith pick that they got at number 10. It kind of really, like, I just don't like getting, like, I just think you could get something like that out of free agency, like the type of skill set you get out of Jalen Smith. But I feel
like they could have traded down. Like, I like him as a player, but I feel like if he was going to draft him at 10, I would have tried to trade down, and I feel like I could have got him later, a little bit later, just to get another piece, asset, future pick.
Yeah, I mean, but the problem was everyone on that. I swear, everyone in this draft wanted to trade down, man. And if no one wanted to trade up, then it's like basically a lot of people just like trading down for basically nothing. So maybe there's probably nothing at that point. But I really wish Killian Hayes went to the freaking Suns, man. I really wished he did. Final award here. We saved it for last. The best award, the MVP award. Who do you have winning the MVP?
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry. Yeah, go on. Why do you think he's gonna win MVP?
Steph Curry will lead the NBA this year in scoring. He's gonna average like 7 assists, and the Warriors will be top 3 to 4 in the West.
Even without Klay, that's interesting.
People, a lot y'all must have forgotten. People really forgot how good Steph Curry is, and it really making me mad how people really forget how good Steph Curry is.
Hey, I don't have a problem. If you like check out my last video, I have the Warriors kind of lower than a lot of people, but it's not because of Steph Curry, man. Like, the depth isn't there. Like, I honestly just do not trust their depth. It's not like the old Warriors teams where you had, like a lot of good bench players. I do not like their bench this year, and there's still like question marks in their starting lineup. But I still think Steph is going to be a baller. I'm not doubting Steph. I'm doubting Draymond if he's still going to go back to that level. I'm doubting if Wiggins could be that second scoring option. It's other things. If there's one constant on that team, it's Steph Curry going to be an absolute monster. But I don't know if that's going to be enough to take them to top 4. But I like that pick. I really do like that pick. My MVP, I mean, you had this guy may possibly not make the playoffs. I got Luka Doncic, man. It feels like
he was second on my list.
Yeah. It feels like it's like just written in the stars. It's just because of that whole thing last year, and it feels like he's just not going to stop. This guy's probably going to be the face of the league in like the next 4 or 5 years. He just seems like he's just that guy, honestly. Even like you mentioned earlier, KP missing the bit of the beginning of the season is going to hurt, but that just gives more points to Luka at the beginning of the season.
Right.
Yeah.
More stats.
Exactly. And I mean, let's be honest. Last year, he almost averaged a 30-point triple-double, which is insane.
And oh my God, what he was doing to the Clippers. I'm not glad KP got hurt, but for prediction reasons, if KP would have stayed, they would have beat them.
Remember that ejection? What game was that? Like where KP got ejected?
Yeah, it was like the third. I think it was game 3 or game 2. It was the game the Clippers won.
Yeah,
it was the game the Clippers won.
Yeah, that hurt. Yeah, like honestly, that if KP was on that court for that game, even like if he didn't get injured, that could have been different. Honestly, that could have been different.
It might have been game 2 because I feel like the Clippers lost the first game.
Pardon? No, the Clippers won the first. They won the first 2. They won the first 2. Yeah.
So it was game 2 they lost. It was game 2 then.
It's game 2 then, yeah. But yeah, I definitely I just think that it's gonna be. It just feels right that Luka's probably gonna get this award. And my number 2 option, I got LeBron, man. I mean, if he still plays like a good amount of games and he like it still looks like the best player in the league at what? This is like his 17th season. or 18.
You know that they'll give it to AD?
I don't know. I just think like AD. I mean, he may have better stats, but I think the narrative that LeBron is basically what I think he's turning what. I think
I be forgetting the narratives part of it. They're
I
gonna use the age, the year, the mileage.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the whole thing with MVP. I have a few. I mean, I still think that AD will probably have the better numbers, but that whole narrative, if LeBron still averages near 10 assists a game, 24 points, there's just no way they're not going to give it to him, especially if he plays a good amount of games. So I definitely see that happening, but I still have Luka as my number one, selection there. Before we end the show, I do this with a lot of my guests. We're going to do like our finals predictions. It's extremely early. The finals ain't going to start till July, but but who do you think is going to what is going to be your finals prediction for this year, man?
Clippers Nets, 4-2 Nets.
4-2 Nets. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just like talk about that a bit, like before, like why you decided to go that way.
Let's be real. The Clippers should have been in the finals last year. They should be champions right now, and they were the only team that could. Okay, this is why the Clippers was the Lakers didn't want to face the Clippers. The offense runs through LeBron.
Yeah.
The Clippers was the only team that LeBron consistently played bad against. Even the wins, LeBron never played that good.
Yeah.
He just escaped through. So I felt like that will throw it off, even with AD killing. So now this year, you come back motivated, come back better. You still got Kawhi that will disrupt LeBron. And let's be real, how often is they gonna blow a 3-1 lead? And
probably, yeah.
I don't think many people think Denver is better than them. I don't think many people think any other team but the Lakers are honestly better than them. And I feel like the Lakers are the one team that they want to face because they know how to counter the Lakers. They know how to counter what they do, how they run their offense and stuff. So I feel like they can beat the Lakers. Then I feel like the Nets, there's no reason why healthy we should lose to anybody. I can see the losing to the Bucks, but I still feel like it would take some underperforming to lose to the Bucks. If everybody performs normal, I feel like there's no reason we should lose. And then us playing the Clippers, how styles make fights.
Yeah.
The one guy, it's two players I know for sure Kawhi cannot guard. It's Steph Curry and it's Kevin Durant.
No one's guarding KD. No one's guarding KD.
It's Kevin Durant on the other side. Yeah. So we know Kawhi. We know the Clippers defense isn't really built on team defense. But the thing is, Paul George, you cannot check Kyrie Irving. So who are you gonna guard? Nobody gonna roam. The Nets' offensive firepower it's just gonna counter them too much, and I honestly don't see a way the Clippers win versus the Nets, unless some underperforming happens. But I just don't see head to head how they win.
Yeah. I mean, that is like that's true. I mean, honestly, like if there's one guy who I feel like is unguardable in this league, it's Kevin Durant. It's absolutely Kevin Durant. Mm-hmm. I'm still gonna my only thing about the Nets this year is that it kind of reeks of what the Clippers had last year. I mean, just because of the fact that last year Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie,
it could happen.
Yeah, it just reeks of that. So I'm just kind of iffy on them. But if they make the finals, I would not be surprised at all. My final prediction, I had to go with my gut. I had the Los Angeles Lakers defeating the Milwaukee Bucks in 7 games this year. I mean, it's very basic, but it just feels like, the Lakers somehow they just got better this year. And I just think that with LeBron another year, with the type of depth that they have now, I just think that they're just built for another finals run. And then with the Milwaukee Bucks, a lot of people are going to be doubting them. Giannis is probably more motivated than ever to prove that he belongs in the elite. And I think that although they're going to make the finals, they're going to just come up short just because it's freaking LeBron and AD, man. I mean, honestly,
right.
Just so it's just going to be, they're just going to come up short. So that's my final prediction. Lock that in. His prediction is going to be Nets over Clippers in 6. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Your finals predictions, what you think is going to happen. Even though it's super early, we're still excited for this NBA season to get started, man. But we're going to end it here today. if you have anything to say to plug your channel, like what's gonna happen with you like this upcoming season, like anything, just plug away, my guy.
Follow me on Instagram, no.layups. Follow me on Twitter at NoLayups. Subscribe to me on YouTube, NoLayups. Turn your post notifications on. Daily content on Twitter, Instagram. Weekly content coming soon to YouTube, especially once the basketball season starts. It's going to be weekly content. So, hey, tune in.
Yeah, definitely go check him out. He puts up some fire content, so check him out. I have all of his links in my description, and if, like I said, it'll be found in my link tree as well. Thank you so much for coming on the pod, my guy.
No problem. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah. So yeah, this is where we're going to end today's episode. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Take it easy, guys. Peace.